If you sold stocks, funds, crypto, or real estate last year, Schedule D is the form that brings it all together and tells the IRS your net capital gain or loss. Today I'm walking you through Schedule D line by line, how it connects to Form 8949, what the $3,000 loss cap means, and exactly where it feeds into your Form 1040. Schedule D is formally called Capital Gains and Losses. Its job is to summarize all of your capital asset transactions and compute your net gain or loss for the year. It pulls its data primarily from Form 8949, where each individual transaction is listed. Think of Form 8949 as the receipts and Schedule D as the spreadsheet that adds them all up. Schedule D has three parts: Part 1 for short-term transactions, Part 2 for long-term transactions, and Part 3 for the summary that calculates your total taxable capital gain or allowable loss. That final number then flows to your Form 1040. Let's walk through Schedule D step by step. Part 1 handles short-term capital gains and losses, assets you held for 1 year or less. Line 1A takes the totals directly from Form 8949 for Box A transactions, where your broker reported both proceeds and basis to the IRS. Lines 1B and 1C take the totals from Box B and Box C transactions respectively. You add those lines together to get Line 2, your total short-term gain or loss. Part 2 does the same thing for long-term transactions on lines 8A through 10. Then Part 3 is the summary. You add short-term and long-term results together to get your total net capital gain or loss for the year. Now let's look at the 2026 tax rates that apply to your Schedule D results. If you have a net short-term gain, it gets added to your ordinary income and taxed at your regular bracket, up to 37%. If you have a net long-term gain, you qualify for the much better preferential rates. For single filers in 2026, the 0% rate applies if your taxable income is $47,025 or below. The 15% rate covers income between $47,026 and $518,900. Above that, the rate is 20%. For married filing jointly, those thresholds are roughly double, $94,050 for the 0% rate and $583,750 for the 20% threshold. These rates assume qualified dividends are taxed at the same preferential rates. Here's one of the most valuable things about Schedule D: it lets you use capital losses to offset capital gains. If your losses exceed your gains, you have a net capital loss for the year. But the IRS puts a cap on how much of that loss you can use to offset ordinary income, like your wages or salary. The limit is $3,000 per year for single filers and married couples filing jointly. If your net capital loss is $8,000, you can deduct $3,000 this year and carry the remaining $5,000 forward to next year's tax return. That carryforward is unlimited, it keeps rolling forward until it's fully used up. Let me walk through a few common filing scenarios so you can see exactly how Schedule D applies to real situations. If you only sold stock reported on a 1099-B with full basis reporting, you enter those totals on Schedule D line 1A and line 8A without needing a full Form 8949, you can check the Box A checkbox directly on Schedule D. If you have crypto sales from a centralized exchange that issued a 1099-DA, those go through Form 8949 Box A as well. If you sold property not covered by a 1099, you need a separate Form 8949 Box C page. And if your only capital gains came from mutual fund distributions reported on a 1099 DIV, those go directly to Schedule D without needing Form 8949 at all. One important nuance on Schedule D is the tax rate calculation for long-term gains. The IRS doesn't just apply a flat 15 or 20% on your long-term gain automatically. Instead, there's a qualified dividends and capital gain tax worksheet in the Form 1040 instructions that layers your long-term gains on top of your ordinary income and applies the correct rate bracket by bracket. This means if part of your income falls in the 0% bracket and part falls in the 15% bracket, only the portion above the threshold gets taxed at 15%. Most tax software handles this automatically, but it's worth understanding so you can accurately estimate your tax bill. Before I wrap up, here are the most common Schedule D mistakes I see. First, people forget to transfer carryforward losses from last year's return. That's free money left on the table. Second, they enter the gross Form 8949 amounts wrong on Schedule D. If the totals don't match Form 8949, the IRS flags it. Third, some people skip Schedule D entirely when they have capital gain distributions from mutual funds on their 1099 DIV, those still need to be reported. And fourth, mixing up short-term and long-term results, putting long-term gains in Part 1, for example, can significantly change your tax rate calculation. Schedule D is the master summary of your investing activity for the year. Get it right and you'll pay exactly the right amount, no more, no less. Make sure your carryforward losses are tracked year to year, because that's one of the most overlooked deductions available to investors. Subscribe for more wealth and tax guides every week.